Sanibonani. Ngiyanamukela to another session of the WUSA Wisdom Readings. Igama lami nginguBongisipho, ngingowakwaMntambo. Today I'll be carrying on with the Mantra 15 of the Sri Ishopanishad. It's quite a pleasant Sunday evening as usual. We had fresh off the Sunday morning inspiration session by Agari Krishna Das Prabhu. Prabhu really, he hammered on some phenomenal points, which were, somewhat of my made up a huge part of my reflections throughout the day. Actually today's session, it sort of taught me the importance of taking down notes as well during the Sunday morning inspiration sessions, as Wusa House was hit by load shedding, and I was, literally banking on catching the pre-recorded video, or rather the recording after the session, and then I just realized, oh man, load shedding. So there was no recording. This was the only Sunday morning inspiration that didn't have a recording. So it's very important to take down the notes and to let the lessons and realizations from these speakers be solidified. Without further ado, any wasting of time, which is so precious, let us get to... Wusa 108 says there is a recording. Wow, I need to go back to that, definitely. And if you didn't catch the Sunday morning inspiration from earlier on today, please do check the recording. It should be out on the WUSA, at WUSA 108 on YouTube, as well as Facebook. Also be in the lookout on for the link somewhere. It's really, I recommend that you check out if you didn't. Or if you did watch, please go and watch again. The lessons that Agari Prabhu was sharing and insight is so important. Let us begin with the reading, and I will start with the invocation as usual. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, Sri Isho Mantra 15. Hiramayena Patrina Satyasya Pihitam Mukam Tadvam Pushan Apavrinu Satya Dharmaya Tristaye. So the synonyms are Hiranmayena, by a golden effulgence, Patrina, by a dazzling covering, Satyasya, of the supreme truth, Apihitam, covered, Mukam, the face, Tat, that covering, Tatvam, so Vam, yourself. So Tatvam, that covering yourself. Pushan, O sustainer, Apavrinu, kindly remove, Satya, pure, Dharmaya, unto the devotee, Tristaye, for exhibiting. Now we move on to the translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. O my Lord, sustainer of all that lives, your real face is covered by your dazzling effulgence. Kindly remove that covering and exhibit yourself to your pure devotee. So Savyasachi Prabhu was just telling me that this mantra 15 is a start of the prayer by Vyasadev, who wrote the Sri Ishopanishad, if I'm not mistaken. So this is the first prayer by him in this Sri Ishopanishad. And just something quick that I just noted is that I think it's in the invocation of Sri Ishopanishad, it's mentioned that the effulgence of the Lord, or the Brahman feature, is attributed to the Sat quality of Krishna, of God, the Sat being the eternality. So this dazzling effulgence, or the Brahman feature, is attributed to eternality aspect of the Lord. The other features being the Paramatma, which is attributed to the Sat and Chit features, which are eternality and knowledge of the Lord. And then the Bhagavan feature, or the personality of Krishna, is attributed to the bliss factor. So in order for one to know God, they have to know all these three features, especially the Ananda, the blissful part, the Bhagavan part, who is Krishna, so many sweet pastimes, especially childhood pastimes. Okay, so let's see how the purport is breaking it down, as His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada always breaks it down, man, for us. So in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 14, text 27, the Lord explains His personal rays, Brahma Jyoti, the dazzling effulgence of His personal form, in this way. Brahmano hi pratistha-ham. Brahmano hi pratistha-ham. Amratasya vyayasya cha. Sasvadasya cha dharmasya. Sukhasyai kandigasya cha. I am the basis of the impersonal Brahman, which is immortal, imperishable, and eternal, and is the constitutional position of ultimate happiness. Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan are the three aspects of the same absolute truth. Brahman is the aspect most easily perceived by the beginner. Paramatma, the supersoul, is realized by those who have further progressed, and Bhagavan, realization, is the ultimate realization of the absolute truth. So just like I've mentioned a bit in Bhagavad Gita, also the analogy of these three features of the Lord is made where they are compared to the sun, right? So in the sun, you have the sunshine. When you look at the sun, you have the sunshine, and that is analogous to the Brahman feature of the Lord. And then you have the sun disk, which is equivalent to, or not equivalent, analogous to the Paramatma feature. And then you have the sun planet, or the sun's surface, which is analogous to the Bhagavan personality feature. And each feature is higher than, those who've realized the Paramatma features. They have higher knowledge than those who've realized only the Brahman. And ultimately, the highest devotees are those who know the Bhagavan feature, who know the personal aspect of God, who know the form of the Lord, which is, full of bliss, and all of His pastimes are just blissful. So let's continue with the purport. It says, the super soul is realized by those who have further progressed, and Bhagavan realization is the ultimate realization of the absolute truth. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, text 7, where Lord Krishna says that he is the ultimate concept of the absolute truth. Mata Parataram Nanyat. Therefore, Krishna is the source of the Brahma Jyoti, as well as the all-pervading Paramatma. Later in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna further explains Ata va bahunaidana kim gyatena tavarjuna vishtabhyaham idam kritsnam ekamshana stito jagat. But what need is there, Arjuna, for all this detailed knowledge? With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire universe. Thus, by his one planetary expansion, the all-pervading Paramatma, the Lord maintains the complete material cosmic creation. He also maintains all manifestations of the spiritual world. So, just by a small drop of his energy, the Lord is able to maintain everything within this cosmic creation, material world, as well as the spiritual world, which sort of speaks to the inconceivable nature of the Lord. I think Sachi mentioned yesterday that in order for us to really start understanding God, we first have to accept, to be willing to at least accept that He's inconceivable, and then we may start to enter into the platform of, beginning to conceive a bit, and that just touches on that. So back to the purport. Therefore, in this Shruti mantra of Sri Ishopanishad, the Lord is addressed as Pushan, the ultimate maintainer. The personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, is always filled with transcendental bliss, Anandamayo Abhyasad. When he was present at Vrindavana in India 5,000 years ago, he always remained in transcendental bliss, even from the beginning of his childhood pastimes. Oh man, them childhood pastimes, extremely sweet. I don't know how, to express the amazing joy that, I've derived from taking part in the WUSA Books Are the Basis book club on Thursdays, I mean. It's really where we're reading all of these childhood pastimes from the Krishna book. And yeah, the only way to describe them is bliss. So please make some time to join us if you can. Thursday, 7 p.m., Books Are the Basis, and you'll also get a taste of this bliss in the form of Krishna's childhood pastimes. The killings of various demons such as Aga, Baka, Putana, and Pralamba were but pleasure excursions for him. In his village of Vrindavana, he enjoyed himself with his mother, brother, and friends. And when he played the role of a naughty butter thief, all his associates enjoyed celestial bliss by his stealing. The Lord's fame as a butter thief is not reproachable, for by stealing butter, the Lord gave pleasure to his pure devotees. Which is, when the Lord steals, it's transcendental stealing. It's not like the same as our material, conception of how things are. Everything is that when he does it in such a way that it brings bliss, and it is the object of, really study, as well as you just gain more and more attraction when you hear of the Lord as, someone who just, is stealing butter, and that's just who he is, and it's kind of he's just himself, basically. And, Savyasachi Prabhu also once mentioned that the reason for our whole endeavor in the spiritual sort of journey is for us to get to a point where Krishna is able to be himself, just for him to be himself, not to be God, ultimate maintainer. That doesn't bring him as much pleasure as when he's, stealing butter from you transcendentally so, as well as, just being himself, having the perfect personal loving exchange with you. And that is your whole goal, when you partake in this journey of spiritual life, to get to a stage where God can just be himself, instead of being hidden under so many Mahamaya potencies. So the killings of various demons such as Aga, Bhaga, Putana, and Pralamba were all but pleasure excursions for him. In his village of Vrindavana, he enjoyed himself with his mother, brother, as well as friends. And when he played the role of a naughty butter thief, all of his associates enjoyed celestial bliss by his stealing. The Lord's fame as a butter thief is not reproachable. For by stealing butter, the Lord gave pleasure to his pure devotees. Everything the Lord did in Vrindavana was for the pleasure of his associates there. The Lord created these pastimes to attract the dry speculators and the acrobats of the so-called Hatha Yoga system who wish to find the absolute truth. Like I said, the Lord, his main thing when he descends to this world is that is for his devotees, along the way he kills some demons, and performs some super amazing stuff, but really the main thing that he likes to do here is to be with his devotees and have these exchanges with them. So of the childhood play between the Lord and his playmates, the cowherd boys, Shukadev Goswami says in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, chapter 12, verse 11, Idham satam Brahma Sukhanubhujya Dasyam Gatanam Paradaivadena Maya Shritanam Nara Tarakena Sakam Vijaru Krita Punya Panja. The personality of Godhead, who is perceived as the impersonal, blissful Brahman by the Gyanis, who is worshipped as the Supreme Lord by devotees in the mood of servitorship, and who is considered an ordinary human being by mundane people, played with the cowherd boys who had attained their position after accumulating many pious activities. Thus, the Lord is always engaged in transcendental loving activities with his spiritual associates in the various relationships of Santa, neutrality, Dasya, servitorship, Sakya, friendship, Vatsalya, parental affection, and Mudurya, conjugal love. In the introduction of Bhagavad Gita, His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada also makes this point that we all, every living entity, innumerable trillions and billions and all the living entities, basically, we all have one of these 5 types of relationships with the Supreme Lord, Krishna. Just that small side note. Since it is said that Lord Krishna never leaves Vrindavan Dham, one may ask how he manages the affairs of the creation. This is answered in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 13, text 14 to 18. The Lord pervades the entire material creation by his plenary part, known as the Paramatma, or Super Soul. Although the Lord personally has nothing to do with material creation, maintenance, and destruction, he causes all these things to be done by his plenary expansion, Paramatma. Every living entity is known as Atma, soul, and the principal Atma who controls them is Paramatma, the super soul. So the maintenance of the universe is left to the demigods, and Krishna, being Paramatma, he pervades the heart of every living being, including those demigods. So I guess I would say that is how he manages the material creation, and also at the same time manages to stay aloof of the running of the material and the governing of the material world. So this system of God realization is a great science. The materialistic Sankhya yogis can only analyze and meditate on the 24 factors of the material creation. Is that like, I think that's the 24 elements that make up the material world. Somewhere in the Ishopanishad before, it was mentioned also that everything that you see in this material world is nothing but a rearrangement, just a different permutation of these 24 elements that make up this cosmic creation manifestation. So yeah, the materialistic Sankhya yogis can only analyze and meditate on the 24 factors of the material creation, for they have very little information of the Purusha, the Lord, and the impersonal transcendentalists are simply bewildered by the glaring effulgence of the Brahma Jyoti. If one wants to see the absolute truth in full, one has to penetrate beyond the 24 material elements and the glaring effulgence as well. Sri Ishopanishad points towards this direction, praying for the removal of the Hiranmaya Patra, the dazzling covering of the Lord. Unless this covering is removed, so one can perceive the real face of the personality of Godhead, factual realization of the absolute truth can never be achieved. Wow, I think this sums up perfectly this prayer by Vyasadeva, so yeah, just His Divine Grace Prabhupada is really breaking down exactly who are the types of people that are, prone to being covered or blinded, and what different elements, what different aspects of the Lord's energy are blinding them as well, from realizing the absolute truth in all three features, in all three aspects, being Bhagwan, Paramatma, and Brahman, not just focusing on one. So the Paramatma feature of the personality of Godhead is one of the three plenary expansions of Vishnu Tattvas, collectively known as the Purusha Avataras. One of these Vishnu Tattvas who is within the universe is known as Ksharodaka Shai Vishnu. He is the Vishnu amongst the three principal deities, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. And he is the all-pervading Paramatma in each and every individual living entity. The second Vishnu Tattva within the universe is Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, the collective super soul of all living entities. Beyond these two is Karanodakshaya Vishnu, who lies in the causal ocean. He's the creator of all universes. This one is definitely a subject of discussion on the Ask a Monk session this Saturday. I'll definitely hit Sabyasachi Prabhu up on one of these, because I watched a lecture once by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, where he was explaining how this whole universe was created, from um, nothingness, and basically the ocean, the causal ocean that Gabodakshai Vishnu is lying on was created from his perspiration, and from that ocean there's the lotus flower, and from the lotus flower out came Lord Brahma, and then he was told from a voice from Paramatma in his heart, Lord Brahma was given the instruction to engage in penances and austerities, and thus he became the father of every living being in this universe, even, and he still maintains the creation of this universe, which also like really helped me just to gain a small sense of how important austerity is. Lord Brahma being the first person, and normally when we're given some austerity to take up, it's like, yo man, the four regulative principles, all of these things, why do I, you know but then Lord Brahma never complained. He, the way that you have to watch Srila Prabhupada's lecture for you to really get. Not doing a good service of explaining how, how I'd say eagerly Lord Brahma took the austerity, and I think it's one of the material laws that austerity always breeds success as well. So yeah, let me continue. Collective supersoul of all living entities. Beyond these two is Karanadakshay Vishnu, who lies in the causal ocean. He's the creator of all universes. The yoga system teaches the serious student to meet the Vishnu tattvas after going beyond the 24 material elements of the cosmic creation. The culture of empiric philosophy helps one to realize the impersonal Brahma Jyoti, which is the glaring effulgence of the transcendental body of Lord Sri Krishna. That the Brahma Jyoti is Krishna's effulgence is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 14, text 27, as well as the Brahma Samhita, chapter 5, text 40. Yasya Prabhavato Jagat Andakoti Kotis Ashisha Vasudadi Vibhuti Binam Tad Brahma Niskalam Anantam Ashesha Buddham Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhaja. In the millions and millions of universes, there are innumerable planets, and each and every one of them is different from the others by its cosmic constitution. All of these planets are situated in the corner of the Brahma Jyoti. Wow, let me read that again. In the millions and millions of universes, millions and millions of universes, there are innumerable planets, and each and every one of them is different from the others by cosmic constitution. It's like Radhanath, His Holiness Radhanath Swami once, mentioned in a lecture that this material world, it's a mere reflection of the spiritual world, somewhat. And the infinite variegatedness, uniqueness of everything here is just, similar to somewhat the spiritual, where everything is unique and everything about the Lord, infinite uniqueness, and just millions and millions of universes, and each planet is unique, distinct from the other. And he also made, the sort of analogy of when you're looking at a group of ants, you would see all of them as being the same. I mean, surely the ants as well see all humans as if they look the same, But when you look closer at the individuals, they all, have something unique, about them. And ultimately, us being the spirit soul, every soul is unique. No two souls are the same as well. So yeah, back to the reading. All of the planets, all these planets are situated in a corner of the Brahma Jyoti. This Brahma Jyoti is but the personal rays of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Govinda, whom I worship. This mantra from the Brahma Samhita is spoken from the platform of factual realization of the Absolute Truth. And the Shruti mantra of Ishopanishad under discussion confirms this mantra as a process of realization. The Ishopanishad Mantra is a simple prayer to the Lord to remove the Brahma Jyoti so that one can see his real face. This Brahma Jyoti effulgent is described in detail in several mantras of the Mandaka Upanishad. Canto 2, chapter 2, verse 10 to 12. Hiranmaye pare kose, virajam brahman nishkalam, Tach Chupram Jyotisham Jyotis Tat Yat Atma Vidu Na Tadra Suryo Bhati Na Chandra Tarakam Nema Vidyuto Bhanti Kuto Ayam Agni Tam Eva Bantam Anupati Sarvam Tasya Basa Sarvam Idam Vibhati Brahmai Vedam Amratam Purastad Brahma Paschat Brahma Dakshinatas Chotarena Adas Jodvam Cha Prastritam Brahmai Vedam Vishvam Idam Varistam. In the spiritual realm beyond the material covering is the unlimited Brahman effulgence, which is free from material contamination. That effulgent white light is understood by transcendentalists to be the light of all lights. In that realm, there's no need of sunshine, moonshine, fire, or electricity for illumination. Indeed, whatever illumination appears in the material world is only a reflection of that supreme illumination. That Brahman is in front and in back, in the north, south, east, and west, and also overhead and below. In other words, the supreme Brahman effulgence spreads throughout both the material and spiritual skies. Wow. Perfect knowledge means knowing Krishna as the root of this Brahman effulgence. This knowledge can be gained from such scriptures as Srimad Bhagavatam, which perfectly elaborates the science of Krishna. In Srimad Bhagavatam, the author Srila Vyasadeva has established that one will describe the supreme truth as Brahman, Paramatma, or Bhagavan, according to one's realization of him. Srila Vyasadeva never states that the supreme truth is a jiva, an ordinary living entity. The living entity should never be considered the all-powerful supreme truth. If he were the supreme, he would not need to pray to the Lord to remove his dazzling cover so that the living entity could see his real face. The conclusion is that one who has no knowledge of the potencies of the supreme truth will realize the impersonal Brahman. Similarly, when one realizes the material potencies of the Lord but has little or no information of the spiritual potencies, he attains Paramatma realization. Thus, both Brahman and Paramatma realization of the Absolute Truth are partial realizations. However, when one realizes the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, in full potencies, after the removal of the Hiranmaya Patra, one realizes Vasudeva Sarvam Iti, Lord Sri Krishna, who is known as Vasudeva, is everything. Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. He is Bhagavan, the root, and Brahman and Paramatma are his branches. In the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, text 46 to 47, there is a comparative analysis of the three types of transcendentalists: the worshippers of the impersonal Brahman, Gyanis; the worshippers of the Paramatma feature, the Yogis; and the devotees of Lord Sri Krishna, the Bhaktas. It is stated that the Gyanis, those who have cultivated Vedic knowledge, are better than ordinary fruitive workers, the Karmis. That yogis are still greater than the Gyanis, and that amongst all yogis, those who constantly serve the Lord with all their energies are the topmost. In summary, a philosopher is better than a laboring man, or the Karmi. So the Gyani is better than the Karmi. A mystic is superior to a philosopher, which is the yogi. And of all the mystic yogis, he who follows bhakti yoga, constantly engaging in the service of the Lord, is the highest. Sri Ishopanishad directs us towards this perfection. Oh man, ki jai. Wow, so really nice point, takeaway. We have a comment from Julie Ruth Wasserman. He or she says, so interesting. I probably butchered your surname, but thank you so much, Julie. Just one point that I wanted to mention, that, the whole goal of the Bhakta is to constantly render service to Sri Krishna. As Agari Prabhu was saying today, how you remove that layer of, that layer of material sense perception, which is covering everything, even how you interact with other devotees, as well as everything else in the world, even how you see Krishna, how you are unable to look at a deity or a picture of Krishna and say, this is God, this is the person whom is in control of everything and who's constantly showering love and gifts. How you're able to get through that covering is by constantly rendering service to Krishna, always thinking of Krishna, always thinking of ways to serve, and to serve selflessly as well. Just one, sort of realization I also had today, it's like apparently my birthday, right? I say apparently because sometimes I do forget, but so today is my birthday, and I had a lot of, some calls from really awesome, amazing people, giving me well wishes. And, naturally, I just thought to myself, man, some of these people, I haven't spoken to them in like over 5 years. And they called me, and it's like, how do I, serve this person now? Like, we haven't spoken in so long. Or even beside that, like, how do I serve all of these people that, I'm just reminded of, that I constantly even like sometimes forget that they exist, being caught up in my own, problems and distresses. And, I really cannot serve everyone. I'm just this jiva, really, really, even my body is controlled by, demigods and different, in an interconnected network. So how can I even try to even serve one person in a way that pleases them fully? That is really impossible. So the only way for me is to just serve Krishna, and Krishna will find a way to get to them. He will find a way to somehow just get to their heart. Julie says, So beautiful. Thank you. It's my birthday. Wow, it's my birthday also. Unbelievable. 5 December. Yeah. Shout out 5 December babies. Wow, yeah, interesting coincidence there. But Julie says, you are so spiritual. That is attributed to chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Every day, literally, Savya Sachi Prabhu invited me to chant with him every day on every morning from 5 to 7 a.m. on Zoom, right? It's been about like 5 months, 4 or 5 months, just chanting most mornings with him. And yeah, when you do chant, when you start chanting, join the Zoom link, join the Zoom call, your life starts becoming spiritualized. You're associating with Krishna in his full potency in the form of this mantra. And you basically become spiritualized, man. Your whole life, your whole existence is just spiritualized. And yeah, it's it's really some nice association. So yeah, I mean, just take the chance and see what it does for you. The Zoom Japa morning sessions, 5 to 7 a.m. every day. But yeah, I've said enough. It's been. Oh, we have a comment from Kulufelo Prabhu. Hare Krishna, great reading. If you had a chance to share or exchange a transcendental activity with Krishna, man, which one would you choose and why? Haribo. Yo, I definitely have Kirtan with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I know that's like, I'm not sure if that answers the question, but just one Kirtan, man. Just one Kirtan. Even if it's 10 minutes. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yeah, Wusa108 just shared the Zoom link to the Japa morning session. So please, yeah, just get spiritualized. You don't need to chant the mantra perfectly. You don't need to know the meaning of the mantra. Here it is, right down in that below thing. All you have to do is just chant and try to listen attentively in the morning. Whether you do it for 10 minutes, do it for 5 minutes, just as long as you try to wake up between 5 and 7 a.m. and you join us, man. So yeah, please. Yeah, that just, I don't have any closing words. Just thank you for tolerating my, obscure understanding of this whole Bhakti and Ishopanishad philosophy up until this point. We're almost at an hour. And thank you to ESCOM for behaving. Because here at Wusa House, you guys have some sort of beef with ESCOM. But I thank you so much. For me, I'm saying peace out and God bless.
Ibhuku lokuqala engalifunda elimayelana noKrishna phecelezi ngesiZulu nje uNkulunkulu umveli nqangi umdali wakho konke esikwaziyo. It was called The Science of Self-Realization. Laphendula imibuzo yami eminingi imibuzo yami ngoba ngangihlezi ngibuza ukuthi senzani la emhlabeni, yini isizathu silana, siqhamukaphi, sadala ubani, ihlahle esizibonayo zenzo ubani, yonke into imibuzo enjalo. Mangilifunda la ngiphendula yonke lemibuzo, la nginikeza nolwazi olujulile ukudlula imibuzo enganginayo. So I would really recommend that if you have burning questions about umhlaba, creation, God, us, yourself, you should read The Science of Self-Realization by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada.